Iran would kang magic question beat. Well, guy, jolly question when you dog. Did Iran dog we am we. Iran would kang magic question beat. Well, guy, jolly question when you dog. Did Iran dog we am we. Ben wala dog. A yell wadit jalagan my young. Le jolly kapot. Pele jala kapo the can win. A buying man and a buying man a view na young one young. A golian jeromo, a golian jerom, and I. A golian jeromo, a golian jerom.
Until 2011, Sudan was Africa's largest country. For 21 years, a civil war raged between northern and southern Sudan. Nearly 2 million people died. 4 million were displaced. During fierce government attacks in 1985, amid gunfire and bomb blasts, 17,000 southern Sudanese boys fled into the bush. They became known as the Lost Boys of Sudan. The Lost Boys trekked 1,800 miles across the desert, fending off lions and hyenas, eventually living in refugee camps, first in Ethiopia, then Kenya. During their journey, about 5,000 of the boys perished from hunger, thirst, disease, exploding bombs, or attacks by animals and soldiers. The 12,000 who survived ended up in the UN-sponsored refugee camp in Kakuma, Kenya. In 1996, Salva Dut was one of the first of 3,800 lost boys selected for resettlement in the United States.
When I came here, I was sponsored by Episcopal Church. This is how I get here. And when I came here, I didn't know anything.
Salva became an American citizen. After 15 years in the U.S., he returned to once again make his home in South Sudan and travels to the U.S. annually. Salva achieved a 2-year associate's degree and is continuing his education.
And I have to make sure that I work hard enough to support myself and educate myself as much as I can. A lot of you read about what is going on in Sudan and what happened. And a lot of bad things are still going on in Sudan today.
Hundreds of thousands of people in South Sudan walk for hours through the desert every day to get enough water to live until the next day. They collect surface water from ponds, marshes, and ditches, or haul it up from hand-dug wells. This water is often contaminated. Parasites like the guinea worm and cholera bacteria thrive in it. Salva Dut founded Water for South Sudan as a nonprofit organization in 2003. Its mission is to bring fresh, safe water to the people of South Sudan, one village at a time, to drill boreholes and install pumps, and through these simple acts, to transform lives. Salva invited a group of people from the U.S. who have been involved with Water for South Sudan to see the work firsthand. An Associated Press reporter, Ben Dobbin, also accompanied the group. Salva hopes they will return to the U.S. as more passionate, more knowledgeable leaders in the Water for South Sudan effort.
Oh, man, good to see you. During the wartime, my dad took me to school. And when he took me there, the war broke out, and then I depart, and we never see each other again. And I didn't know where my dad was for about 19 years. And when I heard about him, he was sick because of waterborne diseases, and he was in the clinic of UN. I said I should go and see my dad before he passed away. And when I went there to that clinic, I saw my dad. He was very weak. And I walked to my dad. I said, "Hey, Dad, how are you?" And he said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm Salva Dut." And he was starting with emotion. He felt like I was dead and now I'm coming out from the tomb. The doctor told him that he needs to start drinking clean water. If not, he might get sick again and get some waterborne diseases again, and he might die. When I went back to US, I said I should do something to help my dad and other people who are in the same situation as well. And that's where I formed a non-profit organization called Water for Sudan. That's why I'm here today.
In January 2011, Southern Sudan's people voted in a UN-sanctioned referendum to become an independent nation. On July 9, 2011, the Republic of South Sudan was born. Sporadic fighting continues along the newly created border between Sudan and South Sudan. Water for South Sudan does not drill in areas of conflict and constantly monitors the situation. Decades of war have left South Sudan, a fledgling democracy the size of Texas, one of the poorest, most undeveloped countries on Earth.
Salva drives his guests to Abanyan, the village where he and his crew are preparing to drill a well. Abanyan has a population of about 1,500. The village is nearly 300 miles from electricity. A 3-day walk to the nearest medical clinic.
This place is going to be a town if you come back next year. Oh, yeah. And this is the headmaster. And that's his school. He's going to build a school there with the support of the community. They tried to do it on their own and they couldn't do it because no water. And now we are bringing the water to them. And next year their life would be changed.
The Dinka people have survived here thousands of years farming millet, sorghum, squash, and beans, gathering fruit and nuts, raising cattle, goats, and sheep. South Sudan has 2 seasons, dry season and wet season. When it rains, water is plentiful for crops and animals. People also drink the water. It often makes them sick. And when the November to May dry season arrives, people must leave their homes in a desperate search for water for their animals, for cooking, cleaning, bathing, and drinking. They can't return to their homes until the next wet season. This annual season-long nomadic hunt for water prevents the development of the most basic infrastructure. It's not possible to build markets, schools, and medical clinics without a stable source of clean water. The week before Salva's guests arrived, he met with village elders and the chief of Abanyan to ask for their participation. Salva knows from experience that by empowering the villagers, by asking for their help, encouraging them to make decisions about the project, that the well will become a self-sustaining community project. The people of Abanyan will take ownership, manage, and maintain their new water system, greatly increasing the likelihood that the well will function for many years to come. It takes a village to drill a well, and everyone participates. Gravel is needed, but there is none. So women gather rocks and carry them to the borehole site. It is an 8-mile walk.
Wait. I just want to see how heavy it is. That's like 50 pounds of rock. That's a lot of rock. Wow.
The rocks they gather need to be broken into gravel and sorted by size. Even the chief contributes.
I left my country when I was 12 years old because of the civil war that was going on in Sudan.
Ater Thiep is another of the lost boys of Sudan who was relocated to the U.S. He and Salva became friends in the Kakuma refugee camp. Ater left a job with Samsung Communications in Texas to become Water for South Sudan's Team A supervisor.
It's very difficult over here. The way sometimes you have to send somebody very far away and you don't know what is going to happen on the way. The road is very poor and in some cases there is no road at all.
To complicate matters further, communication is extremely difficult. There is very limited cell phone coverage, and satellite phones are prohibitively expensive. Salva and the crew are sometimes out of touch for days. Water for South Sudan can only drill during the dry season.
In the wet season, the roads are impassable as truck axles sink into a muddy quagmire. Even now, in the dry season, the work is grueling. The crew of 12 works 7 days a week, often in temperatures of 120 degrees or more.
The irony is that you must have water before you can drill for water. Water lubricates the drill and flushes out the earth. Water is gathered in this nearby marsh and brought to the borehole site. These pits must be full before drilling can begin. Water is recycled throughout the drilling process.
This is the mud pump. And they will put in the pit, in that water, and will suck the water, and the water will come out here. There's a hole here underneath it. And this one is spinning, cutting the soil, going down, is spinning, going down. The water will flush the cut out. Yes.
The drilling takes many hours, so Salva and guests retreat to the campsite. Villagers stop in to visit.
They get up in the morning at 5 and come back from getting water at noontime. Then they have to go back again in the afternoon for more.
The Water for South Sudan crew must be completely self-reliant, or they could not succeed. Agum is their full-time cook. The crew must carry everything they need with them: food, diesel fuel, supplies, welding equipment, and other tools. There are no services on this route, or for hundreds of miles in any direction. Maintenance is a constant concern. The headmaster talks about the beginning of his school in Abanyan.
How many children will come to the school when it is built?
76 students in this year.
Yes. What will he teach the children?
CRE, Word of God. Oxford.
So I will teach Word of God and Oxford English. Okay.
And math. And even math.
And mathematics?
Yeah.
Math.
Yeah.
What will they do when they have this knowledge?
It is good to have knowledge to become a mechanic or a driver. One student may become a doctor, and one become an engineer. Yeah.
Ben interviews some of the prospective students as well.
What does she want to learn in school?
She likes to speak well in English.
And she said,
When you speak well, people choose you to be a leader.
yeah. What she said?
She likes to be a doctor.
Like to be a doctor?
At 260 feet, the crew reaches a substantial aquifer. The drilling bars are removed. The blue PVC pipe, or casing, is inserted the full depth of the well as an outer layer of protection. Metal pipe will be placed inside it to carry water to the pump.
The elders chose this man to be manager of the well.
Water for South Sudan will train him to maintain the well and make repairs. The final phase begins. Gravel is put in place to filter the water. Now the muddy water that lubricated the drill must be removed. Highly compressed air blows out the dirty water until only clear, sparkling water emerges from the aquifer hundreds of feet below.
It's still dirty. It's going to be really, really clean.
Tomorrow, the pipe and pump will be installed, and the villagers will enjoy their first taste of fresh water. And then they will celebrate. Salva brings his guests to the village of Aliak, where he drilled a borehole 2 years before. He wants them to see the effect the well had on the village and its people.
When I came here, there were few houses here, and this market wasn't here. This market is blooming here. It's because of that well. Without well, no one, you wouldn't find anyone here in the dry season.
You can
is
get
nice.
everything here, right?
Yeah, he can get everything here.
Before the well, there was a small school here with about 60 students.
And they were teaching them under the trees. They used this well to build their own bricks. They donate cows, whatever they can, to buy the metal sheet. That's why you are seeing the classroom has a metal sheet on the roof.
My name is Bwana Paul. I'm a teacher of this school. I'm teaching math. We have around 12 teachers. We have around 850 people.
My name is John. I'm one of the teacher. I'm teacher English, math, and CRE. Without borehole, the school will not be here. But with boreholes, the school was established.
The villagers worked together, making their own bricks by hand to erect a new building. They hope their efforts will attract outside assistance from a non-governmental organization like UNICEF or Doctors Without Borders to help turn their new facility into a medical clinic. The work done so far is just a beginning. South Sudan's remote villages continue to need many thousands of wells. To bring fresh, safe water to more people, Water for South Sudan expanded with a second drilling rig. Well by well, Water for South Sudan is transforming lives.
And now he's drinking clean water, he's healthy. I was starting it because of him, but I find there was so much need for others. And if you help them, these people someday they may help others. And that's what really gives me energy, because it's helping the life of the people. Now that South Sudan is an independent nation, it's all the more important to help them help themselves. We are really bringing peace to them. We are bringing clean water to them, and we are working together, and we are all brothers, and working together, that's where you can make a great difference. He said now we are sitting here, we are just all one human being. We are all